At this point, Nehemiah's got to be thinking, okay, the Lord is with me. The Lord's favor is on me. Evidently, I just need to Hail Mary this thing, and so I'm going to ask for everything. And so he asked for not just the ability to go, he asked for letters to get to Judah, to get through the governors, which wouldn't have been an easy task. He probably would have needed protection and people to go with him in order to get all the way to Judah. He doesn't just ask for letters to the governors, he also asked for lumber and materials and supplies from the king through Asaph. Asaph was the keeper of the king's forest. And from the text, it doesn't seem like Asaph is a really friendly bloke, and so he needs the king to give him permission to get all the materials that he needs. The king is financing this whole project, and eventually we know that he gives Nehemiah the title of the governor. He gives Nehemiah everything that Nehemiah needed. And I can just imagine Nehemiah going to Judah with his crew, probably had a pretty good crew. And he's coming down the road in his chariots, and he gets to that first pit stop, and the governor of whatever place of the Trans-Euphrates gets out, and he's wondering, who is this? And Nehemiah gets out, and I kind of envision Nehemiah as a short little man. I don't know why, I just do. One lady told me 825 service, of course he was short, knee-high Maya. I didn't laugh. Inside I did, but it's kind of funny. He was probably a short guy, and so he tells that governor. The governor gets out. He says, "Nehemiah, whoa, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm going to Judah." And the governor says, "No, you're not without papers." And Nehemiah says, "Oh, you mean the Artaxerxes papers?" Ooh, let me see those. Nehemiah had a plan, so he could act on his vision. He gets to Asaph. Asaph, probably a mean character. Asaph, maybe he and Nehemiah had a little bit of tension before. "Hey, tell you what, I'm going to Judah. I want you to load me up with wood and supplies." Asaph says, "There's no way I would ever load you up with supplies to go to that God-forsaken land, not without papers." And Nehemiah says, "These papers? The Artaxerxes papers?" He had everything that he needed because he had a plan. Now, Nehemiah had been praying for what? An opportunity. He had been praying for favor, and God answered his prayer. And because God answered his prayer, and because Nehemiah had been leveraging the downtime through planning, he was ready to act on his vision. What about us? We can pray for an opportunity all day long. God, give me this vision. I want to do this. I want to do that. But let's assume that the opportunity that you are praying for and the person with whom you needed favor gave you favor. And let's assume that God answered all the prayers that you needed him to answer in order for you to act on your vision. Would you have a plan? Would you be ready like Nehemiah? Some subscribe to this belief that any kind of planning is a failure to trust in God. And some are radical about it. Some are not so radical. It's kind of a hidden belief. And a lot of us have bought into that. Well, I just need to trust God, and I don't really need to get all the particulars lined out. But part of wisely stewarding whatever it is that God has laid on your heart to do is to put a plan onto paper like Nehemiah. It's not a failure to trust in the Lord. Planning is not a failure. Planning, leveraging the downtime through planning is one of the ways to wisely steward the resources and the vision that God has given you.